Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Schwartz. Today I'm going to be talking about staying organized with BEM. So a lot of you have been asking me, what is BEM? And I'm glad you asked. It stands for Block Element Modifier. Now what does that mean? Well, BEM is an organizational methodology that is used in a lot of companies, Google and BuzzFeed, for example, and many others. So I thought it'd be good to talk about today and introduce all of you to BEM. The purpose of BEM is to make our code easy for other developers to understand. It's going to make it reusable across multiple projects. And it's going to keep our code really dry so we don't have to repeat ourselves and we can reduce our need to copy and paste. So let's get into an example of a block. A block is a component of a web page or app, and I should also note that it is reusable. So here's my GitHub. I'm going to point out some blocks that are on this page. We have our logo, we have a search bar, we have this tabbed menu here, we have an edit profile button, and we have my 357 contributions in the last year in this little chart down here. So these are all examples of blocks because they're kind of independent entities that can appear on a web page or an app. Now, it's possible to have a block inside a block, but there's this other thing called elements. And these are subcomponents within blocks that cannot appear on their own. For example, in this tab menu we have here, you would not find these tabs in any other block. These are specific to a tab menu, as well as these squares that we have inside of the chart. These are specific to the contributions block. Lastly, we have a modifier. This is an attribute that modifies the appearance or behavior of a block. And there's not really an example on this page, so I'm going to make one. So take a look at that tab menu that we have atop the page and watch the magic. I apply the modifier, and now it has turned into this sort of mobile cascaded menu. So that's something you can do with a modifier. Change the appearance or behavior of something, but have it have the same functionality. Okay, so some use cases for BEM. It can be used in a lot of different skills. Some companies simply use it because of its consistent terminology and naming conventions. We're going to take a look at that in a second. Other companies use it because of the folder hierarchy that organizes everything so nicely. We're also going to take a look at that. And there are also these modules and technologies that have been created by Yandex, the company that created BEM, such as BEM JSON and ENB. So we're going to take a look at those right now. It's Sublime time. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. And let's open up Sublime here. So first thing I want you to notice here is this folder hierarchy. So you see here we have common blocks, we have desktop blocks, we have desktop bundles, and we have libraries. So common blocks isn't going to be this important in this example because if I had a mobile blocks and mobile bundles folders, then common blocks would have been important because it would have stored blocks that are common to both desktop and mobile. But in this case, I'm only working with desktop. So there's nothing in this folder. But if we take a look at desktop blocks, you'll see I have several blocks in here, like button. This is a header, image, input, layout, link, and page. Let's take a look at layout. So here's the naming convention I was talking about. BEM can be used for HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. In this case, we're using it for CSS. And this is a block layout right here. And I know it's a block because it's a single word, no underscores, and it's describing a noun. So that seems pretty blocky to me. Now, down here we have an element, and I know it's an element mainly because of this double underscore that separates the name of the block with an element name. So this is element left, this is element right. And as you can see, I'm describing characteristics of a layout that I'm going to use on my web page. Now, I've talked about how blocks are arranged and folder hierarchy a little bit. Let's talk about this desktop bundles folder. This is where I actually store my pages. So here I have an index page, and this might look a little intimidating. There are a lot of files in this index folder, but there's really only one we have to care about because I'm actually using a sort of transpiler called enb that's taking this file format, BEM JSON, and converting it to HTML. So as you can see, I have a block defined up here called page, and I have a title and a meta tag and the CSS tag. And as you can see, this looks a lot like HTML. And going back to layout, here's our layout block with element left and element right that I defined before. So I'm going to close this for a sec. And if we take a look at my web page, this is what I was able to make with BEM. And here's me with my slogan. Pretty cool, huh? And you can see if we go to element right, my slogan, pretty cool, huh, is here. And the really cool thing here, if I change this to really cool, huh, and I save it, first we'll see a change to really cool in our browser here. And if I go to index.html, you'll see that it automatically updated because I'm currently running our transpiler enb. So that's really cool, huh? The last thing I want to talk about in terms of this folder hierarchy is this libraries folder. And this is really getting into the main essence of BEM. We have this components folder that was included by BEM. And if we look into common blocks, we'll see things like button, input, and if we look here, here's my button and here's my input. I was just grabbing these from a library. And that is the essence of BEM. We are putting our blocks into very organized files, into very organized folders, and then we can use those folders in future projects by storing them in the library. So in the future, you have very little code to write because it's already written for you. And when other developers look at your very neatly written CSS classes, such as layout left and layout right, they're going to know exactly what's going on. So that's why companies really like to use this. Let's get back into our keynote for the conclusion. So as I said, BEM allows us to create a library of blocks that are reusable and easily editable across multiple projects. And whether or not we use BEM technology, we can rely on BEM methodology as a framework for clear and reusable code. So we don't have to use that transpiler I was using to work with that BEM JSON format. We could just simply rely on the naming conventions and the folder hierarchy to create clean and organized code. If you're interested in what I was talking about today, I'd encourage you to visit bem.info for more information. Thanks, guys.